honestly not sure how I'm going to structure this vlog because I've been filming clips here and there. You know, we're gonna film a little intro here anyway and say hi. I just finished making my November wallpapers as usual. I will have those linked in my description if you guys want to check out some desktop and phone wallpapers that I made for November. Feel free, those will be in the description. What else? We are going to do a Kindle revamp for this video. We are going to chat about my August reads. I don't really do wrap-ups anymore. And then we'll talk a little bit about what's on my TBR for November, which honestly will be mostly finishing the 2 or 3 books that I'm in the middle of right now. We have our mug today. I thought it was very November. So I have an Earl Grey tea here. Technically, I think it's a London Fog. Earl Grey, some cream, and then a little bit of sweetener. I think for London Fog, it's supposed to be like steamed frothed milk, and I can't be bothered to do all that. Fun fact, Earl Grey is my favorite tea. What's your favorite tea? Leave me your favorite tea in the comments with a little tea emoji. Anyway, without rambling too much, let's talk about some books. 3 books that I did complete in October. These all were audiobooks, and that's the reason why I was able to finish them. I was not really in a reading mood in October. I was doing a lot of gaming. I was playing a lot of Stardew Valley, doing a lot of house projects. I was a little bit busy. So we're gonna start with Filthy Rich Vampires by Geneva Lee. This was so fun. I gave this 3 stars just because like there were a lot of like kind of cringe eye roll moments, but I don't know, I might bump it up because I really enjoyed this. This is about a mortal woman. I think she's like very early 20s. She is a classic, not a violinist, a classic cellist. And she goes to play at this like bougie kind of ball, you know, gala type situation. And unbeknownst to her, the attendants of this ball and the people who are putting it on are vampires. So the vampires basically are putting on this ball because it's the start of their social season. So think like Bridgerton style. And that part of this, I love. I love Regency. I love galas. I love that kind of vampire Victorian style of things where everything is very extravagant and like old school. And I love that kind of setting and storyline. Essentially one of the vampires' like most prestigious, you know, kind of influential families is trying to marry off their oldest son. Essentially this young mortal woman and this eldest son, you know, vampire, their paths cross when he basically like saves her from, you know, getting her blood drained from another vampire, which I don't really understand that part of the world, because I guess that's kind of why, now that I'm thinking about it, why it was losing stars. Because it's like, well, why are there mortals there if they can't control themselves? Why are they hosting a vampire ball at like this place where they know there's gonna be a bunch of mortals there? You know, like that part I don't really recall and I don't really understand. So I think that's kind of why I was getting some stars missed, because there were a lot of like plot holes, right? This is heavy on like spice and vibes, low on the plot. The world doesn't make too much sense. Cringy, kind of silly, you know, vampire rules and quirks in this world of like how things work. There's a lot of tropes here. He is very rich, like billionaire, like, you know, like Cullens, how they're like so rich because they've just had like decades and centuries of acquiring their wealth. So they're like super rich. So it's like billionaire romance, forbidden romance because obviously vampire and mortal, and also fake dating. So they get in a relationship so that he can get his overbearing mother off his back about like basically being arranged in a marriage to get married off and further the vampire, you know, kind and power and all that kind of bureaucratic bullshit. It's very full of the tropes, but they're tropes that I like. I personally love a billionaire romance. I don't know what that says about me, but I love it. And I have been really loving vampire stuff lately. Vampire smut, if you will. I've just been really like enjoying that. This is pretty spicy, even though they don't actually do the deed in this. There's a lot of like foreplay and stuff. They like travel to Paris and, you know, he buys her a new cello, but they really like bond over classical music. Like there are some parts that I just feel like were cute and heartwarming and just being like, wow, these two people from totally different worlds. Like people can really bond and connect over the simplest of things in life. And I thought that part was really sweet. Excited to read the second one. I've heard The second one is absolutely atrocious, just from the reviews that I've read, but you know, I'm here for the kind of cutesy, heartwarming, spicy vampire stuff. So we're gonna give that second one a try. That's another one that's on my TBR for November. Next, I read Starling House by Alexi Harrow. This is the same author who did The Once and Future Witches, which is on my shelf somewhere. This is another one that I really enjoyed. I listened to this on audiobook probably like 85% of the way. And then my Spotify audiobook hours ran out, so I grabbed it from my library on Kindle. So Libby is a lifesaver. Libby is everything to me. I loved this. This was like a spooky haunted house, kind of gothic fantasy romance. The two kind of main character, the main couple, is kind of like outcast types, which I really like. The main character also has like a younger brother that she's really taking care of. I have said it before, I really appreciate like an older sister trope. I just really feel for those kind of characters. I just really understand their motives and the ways that they are. You know, not wanting to burden anyone, wanting to do everything themselves, not wanting to ask for help, not liking when people try and help. The pride aspect of it, the kind of martyr aspect of it sometimes. She's in a dead-end job in like her hometown that has nothing going on. It's like, you know, kind of like rural South kind of setting. And there is this kind of haunted house. It's like this crazy taboo, rumored, you know, spooky place. And she has been having dreams of this place since she was a child. And so one day she eventually goes there and she meets the current warden of the house, who is her age. She starts to work for him as a housekeeper. Basically the story is of how they're actually connected. You know, there's a lot of like faded, you know, kind of storylines woven into this, but the haunted house thing, I love a live house. Like I love when a house has like characterizations and, you know, kind of lives and breathes and has reactions and responds to people. And I love that. So this was spooky, but not like scary. It was a little gory in parts. You know, there's monsters, haunted house, nightmares, a kind of like cat familiar, a lot of those kind of typical horror, Halloween, spooky tropes, but in a way that I really liked. I really enjoyed the writing. I gave this one 4 stars. I thought it was interesting. The plot was kind of losing me at some points. It lost a star because I wasn't quite connecting all the dots super easily. I felt like it kind of left a lot of things a little bit too vague. And I feel like there was a lot of repetitiveness in this as well, where I kind of wanted it to move forward a little faster, give me a little more juice, a little more information. So that one was 4 stars though. I really did enjoy it. I also love this cover. I think it's gorgeous. The gothic vibes were there for sure. And then last audiobook that I did finish in October was Ruthless Vows. I gave this 4 stars as well. There is something so romantic and tragic about a wartime romance. Like, I really loved this. Although the main character was split up for most of the book, I don't personally mind that because I think the pining and the longing and finding out how like couples in books really act and behave when they're apart from each other is just as telling a lot of times, and it's just as romantic as when they are together. They had like little secret meetings, letters to each other, just like in the beginning, just like in the first one. And I just thought it was so incredibly romantic. It's basically a war of gods, right? That are taking it out on mortals. It's how the people in different towns worship different gods. And, you know, one of them is good and one of them is evil, but it's not so black and white, right? And I think that's really interesting. My issue was the really kind of culmination of the big, you know, epic like fight scene and like who's winning in this good and evil, and, you know, the kind of heroine going, you know, down in the depths and the underworld, and like so quick. It was like literally, I'm telling you, like 3 minutes of the audiobook and it was, she was in, out, done, like, and that was it. And that was the end of the book. And I would have liked a little more of the fantasy element, a little more of the world building, the magic system, why these gods, you know, are doing the things that they're doing. It didn't really have a lot of like substance in that way. This one is a really good example of, it's a romance first and the fantasy is kind of an afterthought. While I really do love Rebecca Ross's writing, I personally think that the River Enchanted, what's the second one? Fire Endless duology is much, much better than this. I did really enjoy it. I think it was very, very charming and romantic, and I'm definitely glad that I finally got to that one. And then the two books that I am currently in the middle of, we are still working on Alchemized. We are on page 294. We are finally getting to some interesting shit happening. Some things are happening. I'm invested now. I have to say the first 200 pages of this were a bit rough, but I am extremely motivated to finish this month. I am really enjoying it. It's tragic. It's gorgeous. It's heartbreaking. It's interesting, but it was quite slow in the beginning, and I'm looking forward to finding out more, getting more hot goss, getting more backstory, getting more forbidden love. You know, it's coming. I can feel it. I'm excited. And then we are also working our way through Dracula. I also have the audiobook for this on Libby. If you guys aren't aware, it's very easy to get like classic audiobooks through Libby. They're almost always available, at least for like the main, you know, kind of popular ones. So Dracula, I have been kind of finding my place and reading a little bit physical here, but I'm basically 37% done. I am planning to hopefully kind of binge and get this done by like the end of the weekend. Tomorrow's Halloween, the 31st, so I'm hoping to kind of wrap that up. It's not like exclusively Halloween. This will, you know, go just fine to take me into the beginning of November. Really enjoying this. Also, basically a series of letters, which I didn't know going into it. Lots of letters and lots of POVs, which I love. So, you know, as you expect for kind of a classic, a little bit slow, a little bit repetitive at times, a little bit like, okay, we've heard this, let's move on. Let's get to some vampires. Let's get to some blood sucking. The audiobook is also great because there's a lot of different accents and kind of like the POVs are all distinct from each other. Just met Van Helsing, like the famous vampire monster like slayer, and we're getting more into like, oh, okay, there's vampires around, because in the beginning of this you don't really know that unless you just know what the story of Dracula is about, right? Like the first 35% you would not know what is going on. You're basically getting the POV of one man who is basically being taken prisoner by Dracula and is like locked up in his, you know, Gothic mansion. Him writing letters, you know, am I ever gonna get out of here? Oh my God, I'm so worried about you. But I just love, like, I just love the style of this. I love all the different letters. I love the kind of, to me, reading classics is just funny. Like, they're so dramatic and camp that I just laugh out loud a lot of the times. Basically, we just have met Van Helsing, essentially try and treat this young woman who is appearingly anemic, but no real signs of anemia, meaning she's keeps losing blood, like she's pale and weak and all this stuff, but they can't actually quite figure it out. And now we're getting where it's obvious that Van Helsing is suspecting of vampire activity because he just adorned her entire room and put garlic around her and, you know, was like, don't open the windows and doors, and just very dramatic, all the accents. I'm just really enjoying it. I am. It's like I mentioned, you know, classics go a little slow. That is the intention. Like there are sometimes like words and sayings and phrases and verbiage that you're not used to. You have to kind of think about things. You have to slow down a little bit. I say that as I'm reading this at 2x speed. It's just a different experience. It transports you in time, and it really is something that I just love about reading. It's just reading at its peak, in my opinion. So I'm really enjoying this. So I'm hoping I'll be able to finish this weekend. I've been yapping for probably like 30 minutes now at this point, so I need to stop. November, TBR. I'm gonna go from 1,000 page book to the next. Breaking Dawn is also next on the list, but honestly, am I gonna be able to get to this? I don't know. I think I could do this and Alchemize at the same time because this is so much easier. It's so much lighter. Like, it's not, but it is. You guys know what I mean? Like, this is just silly, fun, light vampire. Not so much deep trauma, most fucked up thing I've ever read kind of book. You know, it's an 800 page book, but it's like an easy 800. So that's on the list. Yeah, from there, we'll honestly just see what else we get up to because who knows? I don't feel like I'm going to be setting a TBR for this month, really.
Sophie, your hair looks just like starling.
I mentioned this in a community post. I'm thinking about doing Vlogmas and I'm scared for myself. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm considering it. But maybe not necessarily a video every day, but just like really ramping up videos. Maybe like Monday through Friday. Like maybe 5 videos a week. Maybe doing like shorts instead of like all full length. I don't know. Let me know if any video ideas you guys have in the comments. I would love to hear anything that you like to see, especially during Vlogmas. I love Christmas and my work is going to be winding down at that point, so I have more time for kind of content stuff. But then at the same time, you know, Christmas is busy time. However, this year for Christmas, I am kind of in my home base where I generally travel for Christmas. I won't be having to travel because I live here now where all my family is. So there'll be less of that, but probably just as much busyness because I'll be probably doing a lot of Christmas activities, hopefully. Something else I would like to incorporate and plan, the personal curriculum kind of trend that everyone is doing going around, because I have moved into this new house and I'm really focusing on like homesteading things in the next year. Most importantly, getting a garden up in the spring. I was already planning on doing a lot of planning and researching on gardening, especially for my area, because I am in kind of a challenging location for gardening. I am really loving the idea of doing like a personal curriculum and setting some kind of goals for myself, setting some kind of like readings and things that I want to plan. So if you guys are interested in the personal curriculum thing, let me know. I was planning on doing kind of like a little book tour of like all my reference and kind of textbooks, because I do have quite a lot on various subjects that are really interesting to me. Just kind of chatting about the main areas that I want to like kind of actually give myself study kind of courses on in the new year, January 1st. So that might be happening. I'm gonna stop yapping. We're gonna do some more reset things. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you are not already. Good morning, friends. It is Halloween. We are going to have a fun day today. As I just showed, I was hoping to maybe get outside this morning, but it is so smoky. Everyone's burning. I'm gonna be doing a little fire pit burn later. So I need to just do a little bit of cleaning at the moment. I am honestly not a big Halloween person. I really love these little pillows that my mom gave me though. They say trick or treat. And Hans is enjoying one. He's been kicking these off the couch every night though, because he sleeps out here on the couch most nights, driving me insane. So honestly, I'm happy for Halloween to be over, and tomorrow all the Halloween's coming down. It does mean that my favorite holiday is coming, so I always appreciate it. And I do love watching Nightmare Before Christmas, so we'll be doing that. Scream is my scary movie. It is, you know, that's my scary movie that I agree to watch every year. Hope you guys had a good Halloween. Let me know if you did anything fun in the comments. By the time you watch this, it will be post-Halloween. If you dress up, let me know. I hate dressing up, and I know people like think that's crazy. I did used to work in like a small marketing office where like we were all partiers. We were in like a college party town, and like none of us kind of grew up. It was like that kind of marketing agency, which is very fun, where the pay is absolutely terrible, but you like make lifelong friends and you just have fun. Like Halloween days, we would go to work and we just wouldn't work. We would literally start drinking champagne and like punch at 10 a.m. We would leave at like 3 to go out to the bars. So in my 30s, it's low key. We're hanging out. I'll update you guys on Dracula later. It is quite fun. I'm liking it. I really would like to start the Filthy Rich Vampires too, but because it's Halloween, I do want to read Dracula today. And I read like 100 pages of Alchemized last night, and you guys, oh my God, like I hit part 2 and my jaw was on the floor. If you know, you know. Like I was like, what? It was taking a long time to get there, but I'm so glad that it has, and I really also want to read that. So I'm excited to be like excited about reading something again, especially physically. I sat in my reading chair and just, it was so nice. Anyway, I'll check in with you guys later. Hello guys, reading update. We are almost 50% or 50% about, I think, with Dracula. And I sat outside and read like a chapter of Alchemized with Hans. We just sat outside for a little bit. But he is so frantic for ball that he honestly doesn't really let me like just sit and read without getting his muddy volleyball all over me. And there he is, you can hear him on the floor. Let's see, yeah, we are 50% on Dracula, so that's going well. And I'm telling you, Alchemized, it's like I'm really into it now. I'm gonna be kind of getting back into a little bit more of a reading groove, so I'm very excited. I did want to just share a couple books that I have grabbed recently because I am excited about them, for one, but also two, I think I'm going to be on a book buying ban. I don't buy them very often, but you know, I do thrift and stuff, and I might let myself thrift some books. But like for the rest of the year and in the beginning of 2026, I really am trying to not buy any new books. You know, there's always exceptions to things like that. Like if it's like a favorite author of all time, but you know, I don't keep up with new releases. Like it's not something that I need like immediately. I'm just really trying to save money. The house has been expensive. It's just been a lot. I've been spending a lot. I've been decorating a lot. Property taxes are due on the 1st. It's not fun. So that being said, two books that I did pick up recently. This one was a kind of an impulse buy at Costco. I did get The Gingerbread Bakery, which you guys know I have really enjoyed this series. As far as romances go, some of my favorite like just cute rom-com type romances. I did not get to the Strawberry Pancake House one this summer. It just unfortunately did not happen, but I still want to have the same plan with this as I did with that, which is to do a cute little annotating video, use some like red and pink, you know, gel pens, do some cute annotating, do some cute tabbing. Not because I think this is going to be like a really stimulating intellectual read that I'm going to really need to like tab up, but just for fun. Another one that was, again, just kind of like, I thought about it, I saw it, I just grabbed it really quick on Amazon, was Faithbreaker, because I do own the other two in this series physically and have really, really enjoyed them. I love these iridescent covers. The first one is not iridescent, unfortunately, and I don't know if that's just because I don't know if they started doing that after or what, but this is Faithbreaker. This is like a Norse mythology inspired epic fantasy with a kind of older protagonist, like a woman in her 30s. She has like a limb difference, and I love that representation. I love that she is kind of an older protagonist. I really enjoy her as a FMC. So this is the conclusion to that. Epic fantasy adventure, a lot of action, and a lot of cool god fantasy elements. So like a very much, what's that? I don't know, what's that trope? Like whenever there's like a bunch of different people like in a group who are traveling together, you know, my brain, my Lord of the Rings, my blueprint for fantasy since I was a child is Fellowship of the Ring. It's giving very Fellowship, you know? People from all different kind of creeds and races and ages and things like that are coming together. They're forming, you know, a kind of, what's the word? A troop? I don't know. There's a word I'm looking for. If you can think of it, let me know. Really enjoyed the first two books of this. So lastly, I picked this up when I was thrifting with my mom and sister. This past weekend, we had a girls' weekend trip and we did some thrifting together. We all love to do that. And this is one of those new Barnes & Noble Classics editions. This is like one of the most gorgeous books I've ever seen. It says Uncle Tom's Cabin. This is like look at the, oh my God, look at that inside cover. This is me. Like I have this color surrounding me in my entire office right now. I love this. This also has one of those like embossed from the library of, you know, when you get those for Christmas and then you emboss all of your books and then you donate them to the savers, you know? Ooh, this also has a receipt. I love when they have receipts in them so I can see where the hell this came from. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. Just read the inner cover of this because honestly, I could not recall what this was. This is not a book that I read in school. I was one of those pretentious kids who like read the classics in school, like Of Mice and Men and Great Expectations and Jane Eyre and all those, but we didn't read this, which is essentially a story about a slave and a slave owner in Kentucky. It certainly fueled the abolitionist cause, and many historians cite it as a major contributing factor in the lead up to the Civil War. It sounds like this is quite heavy, obviously, with the content. Can't say that this is one that's high up on my priority list for classics, but it is a classic. And I think that reading things like this are really important at some point in your life, you know, just the great classics, the things that are really pivotal in history, like the blurb said. So, and I just think it is an absolutely gorgeous cover. I will definitely be filming some clips and stuff tonight, but I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done because it is Halloween, and you know, we're gonna do some fun activities. And then tonight we'll wrap up this vlog. Tomorrow we will switch over my November wallpapers and such, but I want to keep the Halloween stuff, you know, until tomorrow. So I'll show you my iPad and my wallpapers and stuff tomorrow, but other than that, this will be the wrap up of this vlog. I think I mentioned it before, but Halloween is not my thing. It's not my favorite, but you know, any chance to break up the mundane and bring a little joy to, you know, this god-awful existence of the world right now, you know, I will take it. I will make a theme out of it, and I will have a good time. So for now, I'm going to continue on with Dracula. The Transylvanian accents are peak. They're so good.
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Halloween. Yeah, the one with the guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters.